Chris Kelser here with
Matt Howell.
And in this episode of The First Run, Matt and I are going to discuss Peter Farrelly's Greenbook, starring Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali, about a story about a friendship that develops as the two of them go on a road trip. We'll talk about it. It's Greenbook. It's Oscar bait, and we'll see how successful it is. We're also going to talk about the latest Coen Brothers film that debuted on Netflix, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Is it another Coen Brothers hit, Matt? Is there going to be another Insta classic a la old No Country for Old Men? We love our country. We love our Westerns. We'll see how this one unfolds. And it's an anthology film, which can go either way. And then finally, there's so much going on in the news. It's the return to the lounge, when basically we just screw around for about 20 minutes or so. Which is basically the whole show. So anyway, we hope you enjoy it. And then first up, though, here's a clip from Greenbook.
How is that?
Salty.
Have you ever considered becoming a food critic?
No. Not really. Why, is there money in that?
I'm just saying you have a marvelous way with words when describing food. Salty. So vivid one can almost taste it.
Hey, I'm just saying it's salty. And salt's cheating. Any cook can make things salty. To make it taste good without the salt, we'll just get the flavors. That's the trick. I mean, take the basic ingredients.
We should really get going soon if we expect to get to Pittsburgh by dinner.
Hey, when I was in the Army, I know a guy from Pittsburgh. Except he called it Titsburg. He said all the women there had huge tits.
That's absurd. Why would women in Pittsburgh have larger breasts than, say, women in New York?
Guess we'll find out, huh?
I forgot about that part when I pulled that clip. So there's your explicit tab, folks, just for the kids at home, in case you have any children listening to the show. I do apologize for that.
Well, you know what? Now all bets are off.
That's right.
We already got the explicit tag, so now we can just let it fly.
That's right. So that's Greenbook. That, of course, is Viggo Mortensen, as we said, and Mahershala Ali. Mahershala Ali, of course, plays Dr. Don Shirley, who is a classically trained pianist and who's currently he does jazz records, and he's going on a tour of the Deep South. He hires Viggo, who plays Tony Vallelonga, or Tony Lip, to kind of be his driver and then kind of watch his back and take care of him while he's in some of the less, how do you want to put it, Matt? The less kind or genial or accepting or welcoming parts of the Deep South in the 1960s. So this thing is getting some Oscar buzz. Well, I don't know about that. It did what? I got some Golden Globe buzz. All right, we'll put it that way. Right? And I think actually that Farrelly got an Oscar. I keep saying Oscar. Got a Golden Globe nom too, as a director for this film. And I did open, Matt, by saying that, of course, this is a, I think, Oscar bait film.
Yeah,
which can be okay.
Right.
But sometimes it's a detriment. So what are your thoughts on the Greenbook? Am I wrong? I feel like clearly I'm mixed on this.
Sure.
So I'm wondering, where do you come down? Was it a bigger success for you? Or did you enjoy this thing? And I'll get into my thoughts after that. But what are your thoughts, of course, on the Greenbook?
Yeah, so I would say Greenbook is a completely predictable story that you've seen before. It doesn't break any new ground at all, but it's competently directed, and Ali and Mortensen are, such good actors. They kind of elevate the material, but they can only bring it up so far to a point where it's basically it's fine, but it's not groundbreaking. It's like one of those things that it's one of those films that is gonna get nominated, but it has no chance of winning. It's really just kind of like a participation trophy as far as that goes, which I think is fair.
Yeah, no, I think that's an apt description of the film. It's relatively entertaining, I think, for Oscar bait. I think what I struggle with is I think that maybe Farrelly is, I don't know if he's focusing too much on I think he's tripped up basically by focusing on the relationship between the two leads, because that's what the film's basically about. is the two of them on their trip to the South on this tour, and how they develop this friendship, even though they come from two different societies, two different cultural backgrounds and upbringings and all that stuff. So, as you said, I think there's fine performances from both leads here. I really do. But unfortunately, there's really nothing of interest or invention here. And I think, as I said, he gets tripped up by focusing on the friendship portion, development of that, and not so much the horribleness that Shirley encounters in the South. I mean, it happens and it's there, but it's just like it's there and then it's gone. Right. I mean, he never really tackles any of the hard stuff for me at all. It's too light and breezy, and I think that it's the prejudice and the violence that he does eventually do depict in some scenes. He just doesn't hover around it very long.
Right.
And so it never gets any depth. There's never any gravitas or gravity to anything that really happens to him, I feel, unfortunately. It's just too superficial and it's too safe. Exactly. And another thing that bothered me about it is that if you're familiar with the history and the story of the Greenbook, I mean, that's a fascinating subject where it's this book that was handed down or you could buy, where illustrated and showed where people of color could stay that would be safe for them in all of these different states.
Right.
And I think that's a fascinating story that they do nothing with.
Right.
It's like a AAA guide for them, really, in the film. It just doesn't have the impact that I think it truly deserves. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, this is definitely, and I don't know if it's just because of the time of year, like this is kind of a holiday thing, but you're right. I mean, he doesn't want to really confront the hard issues or like the kind of harsh realities of it all. And he kind of just glosses over it and just keeps it kind of at a 10,000 foot level and said, let's pay attention to the friendship, which is, obviously something that you should pay attention to, but it's not really challenged in any way. It's just a very, kind of blasé, kind of slightly updated driving Miss Daisy in reverse kind of thing. I mean, that's about as milquetoast as it is.
Yeah, no, I think that's an exceptionally apt description of this thing. It's fine. I was really hoping for something more, especially with the actors involved in this thing. I really thought we had an opportunity to see something really great. And it's fine. It's just listen, it's not Paul Haggis Crash bad. All right.
But what is really?
And which to this day I'm thankful for explaining to me that racism is bad. I would never have known if Haggis didn't beat me over the head with that mallet. And that's what makes me think that this thing has a shot at the Oscars.
You really? Bite your tongue.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's some nominations, especially in the current political climate.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that it's entirely possible this thing pops up in there somewhere, which I'd be very disappointed with. So I don't know. I'm still struggling too with what to give this thing. Like I've had a C+ or a B- back and forth on this over and over again.
Well, I'm going to give it a B-. It is like I said, it's a safe film. It's nothing spectacular. It's not groundbreaking in any way. And they gloss over a lot of the tough parts, but Mortensen and Ali are pretty good. So, it elevates it, I think, into kind of, take your grandma to the movies kind of thing.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. So I'll stick with my B- then as well. That's what I have written down or typed up on my notes is the B-. So I'm going to stay with that as well. Greenbook. It's, glossy kind of, hey, racism was pretty bad. Remember that?
Greenbook. It's not Crash.
That's right. If you had a chance to see Greenbook, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. So, Matt, normally this is when I would then play an audio clip of what we're going to talk about on Blu-ray and DVD. But I'm not going to do that this week because I'm going to pocket it for the straight to DVD pick of the week.
Oh, okay.
Because it's something you have to hear.
Okay.
So I just felt like I couldn't rob the audience of that. So coming up on Blu-ray and DVD this upcoming Tuesday, that is December 11th. Equalizer 2. which I don't think you saw, right? I think I just saw it.
No, I didn't see Equalizer 2. And I'm not
No.
sorry for that at all.
I cannot stand that first film. And this one isn't much better. I feel the big climax conclusion was better, but overall, just listen to the review of the show. I did talk about it. Includes 11 deleted and extended scenes. You can watch it in retribution mode with Denzel and director Antoine Fuqua. I don't know what that means. I'm assuming it's audio commentary. There's 4 featurettes and a pop-up trivia track. I don't know how you could have a trivia track through an entire film about The Equalizer 2, but maybe it focuses on the TV show. That would be interesting if the Equalizer fans out there.
Maybe it's just the minutia. They're like, Denzel likes to have chamomile tea at 12 o'clock every day.
That I might be interested in actually watching that. Another just severe disappointment. Well, Equalizer 2 wasn't a disappointment. I expected it to be bad. I didn't expect this to be good, but I didn't expect this next film to be as bad as it was, and that's Peppermint. Directed by Pierre Morel, who directed Taken. This is one where Jennifer Garner's family is killed, so she goes on a murderous rampage and becomes a vigilante, and it's horrible. It's horrible. Keira Knightley stars in Colette. It's a story of a marriage where Colette shows the lengths one woman must go to escape her husband's control and claim her voice as an artist. A couple making of featurettes and some deleted scenes. Ben Foster and Elle Fanning starring Galveston. Foster plays a dying hitman who has escaped the setup, returning to his hometown of Galveston, where he plans to enact his revenge. Kristen Stewart and Chloe Sevigny star in Lizzie, which is oppressed, independent-minded Lizzie Borden experiences a sexual awakening with a pretty new maid is hired, and the two develop an intimate relationship. But Lizzie explodes in rage and violence when her dominating parents try to control her desires. Of course, based on the infamous 1892 murders of the Borden family. Bella Thorne stars in I Still See You. It's 10 years after an apocalypse, and the world's haunted by ghosts, and Thorne plays a woman who's received a threatening message from beyond the grave, joining forces with Kirk, not the captain. A mysterious classmate, Ronnie, descends into a shadow world that blurs the bounds of the living and the dead. For the Bella Thorne fans out there, new to Blu-ray, Criterion releasing Guns, starring Stanwyck, directed and written by Sam Fuller, includes a brand new 4K restoration, new interviews with Fuller's widow, Crystal Lang Fuller, and his daughter Samantha. A Fuller Life, a 2013 feature-length documentary by Samantha Fuller about her father, which includes interviews with Wim Wenders, William Friedkin, Mark Hamill, James Franco, Jennifer Beals, Bill Duke, and more. Criterion is also giving us a dry white season with this bracing drama made at the climax of the anti-apartheid movement. Director Yuzin Palsy issued a devastating indictment of South Africa's racist government and made history in the process, becoming the first black woman to direct a Hollywood studio film. Includes a new 4K restoration, new interview with the director by film critic Scott Foundas, 5 scenes, a new program featuring Palsy, interview with actor Donald Sutherland from 1989, as well as some other ported over extras from a prior release. Shout Factory is giving us the 50th. You ready for this, Matt? The 50th anniversary of Hang 'em High.
Wow.
How old do you feel now? This is, I believe, the first film Clint Eastwood ever directed, right? Was Hang 'em High.
Was it? Okay.
Or was it Plain Misty for me? I thought it was Hang 'em High. I'm wrong about that. Includes 2 brand new audio commentaries. Blue Underground is releasing a 4K restoration of the seminal slasher film Maniac. Includes a new returning to the scene of the crime with William Lustig, who was the director, and a new outtakes featurette. Getting released on 4K is Evil Dead 2. They released Evil Dead on 4K, and it's supposed to look fantastic. Matt, I can't tell you how many times I've bought those films.
I know, right? It's kind of sad. You've got quite a few copies of Evil Dead 2 laying around.
And Evil Dead. I have it on VHS. I had them on DVD twice, I think. Wow. I have it on Blu-ray. I have both on Blu-ray only once. I just don't know. Part of the charm is the low budget nature. So I need that 4K. I don't know if I do.
You're going to talk yourself into it. It's going to drop down to like $10 and you're going to buy it.
And Black Friday, it was $10, and I almost bought it, but I didn't. I had higher priorities to get that day. Scream Factory is also releasing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. This is a Zellweger McConaughey film. Includes a theatrical cut and the director's cut, which I didn't know even existed, which is basically the Blu-ray 1080p version, and then the stuff that's cut out is standard def that was inserted in. Brand new audio commentary with the writer-director Kim Henkel, which is available only on the director's cut, and a bunch of other new featurettes. And then an all-time classic is being released, Matt, on Blu-ray, I believe from Scream Factory as well. Do you have any idea what it might be? Just in time for the holiday season?
Silent Night, Deadly Night, Black Christmas.
The first part.
Garbage Day!
That's right. Garbage Day itself is being released on Blu-ray. Includes a brand new 2K remaster of the film from an archival theatrical print. New audio commentary with the director and a couple of the actors. There's a whole bunch of new stuff on this. So if you're a fan of Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, this sounds like the version to get. I may get this one. I have the first one when they released it on Blu-ray. I watched Black Christmas last week.
Right.
1974 version, of course, people. If you haven't seen it, is fantastic. And it's also directed by the same guy who did A Christmas Story. So you can do a little double feature. There's a new box set coming out, Matt, called De Niro and De Palma, The Early Years. It's 3 films they did together. The Wedding Party, Greetings, and Hi Mom. Features 2K restorations of all 3 films and some brand new audio commentaries. Nothing from the actual De Niro's or the De Palmas. But there is still a bunch of stuff on there you can check out if you're a fan of their early work. Vinegar Syndrome is releasing a couple films. Sudden Fury, where Fred, a psychotic would-be entrepreneur, hopes to convince his wife Janet to invest in a shitty land deal. When his wife refuses, the couple continue their violent argument while driving through the Ontario backwoods. When their car crashes, Janet is seriously injured, Matt. But Fred leaves the scene, hoping his wife won't last the night. But she's saved by an ingenuous Good Samaritan. And they're also releasing Ice Cream Man, starring Clint Howard, which is a favorite of mine from the 90s. You familiar with Ice Cream Man?
I am not.
He basically plays a psychotic ice cream man.
Oh.
He kills kids. It's very famous where the cover, I don't know, very famous, but the cover of the VHS had him holding a ice cream cone with like a skull at the top or an eye, depending on what version.
Okay. All right.
Scream Factory is also we're almost there. Scream Factory is also releasing The Mangler, the Stephen King film based on one of his books. Brand new 4K remaster, struck from the camera negative for the uncut version, which is included. Brand new audio commentary by the co-writer as well, and an interview brand new with Robert Englund. Massacre Video is releasing a little not short horror film, but a horror film called Fiend, when an evil spirit enters a graveyard and reanimates the corpse of a music teacher. However, in order to stay alive, he has to wrap his hands around his victims. The only thing he didn't plan for, though, was his wife or husband. I don't know. It's very cloudy. The notes kind of contradict themselves from the release that they put out. Toy Soldiers is being released on Blu-ray, I believe, for the first time. The Sean Astin film, when the terrorists take over the school.
Yeah.
And then finally, here it is, Matt, your straight to DVD pick of the week. For years, the government paid him to kill. Now he's self-employed. Take a listen.
Coming from New Line Home Video. In the brutal underworld of secret government operations, he was the deadliest name in the business.
You know why they took us? Because we are the best.
Now he's going into business for himself.
Why did he turn on us? Because he figured out that we sent him on a one-way mission, that's why.
Exploding onto video cassette from New Line Home Video. Burt Reynolds, the biggest name in action, is Raven.
You're crazy. I am crazy.
His missions were unofficial. His tactics were unconventional. But when his own government sells him out,
Nobody was going to come out of that alive.
his vengeance is inescapable.
I'm going to take out the 4-star group, and I'm going to take them out one at a time, you included.
Now, the covert agent codenamed Raven is on his own, over the edge, and out for blood.
Let's kick some. He's going to kill us. What a way to go.
Starring Burt Reynolds of Striptease, Sharky's Machine, and the upcoming Boogie Nights.
I don't have any competition.
Igniting high-impact espionage action in the style of Eraser and Rambo. It's Burt Reynolds, locked, loaded, and taking no prisoners in Raven, rated R, exclusively from New Line Home Video.
So there you go, Raven.
Wow, that's sublime.
Now,
I didn't know he was the quintessential action star.
I was not aware of that either. So that's the music from Heat.
Is
in
it?
The beginning of that, right? It's something. I'm almost positive it's Heat.
Okay.
So, but that, and I think that's from 1989-ish. I'm not quite sure, but I also too love and the upcoming Boogie Nights. So there you go. What should we be streaming this week?
So I'm gonna go.
That's on Blu-ray as of the 11th. So,
oh, very nice. So I'm not gonna pick a film. I'm actually gonna cheat a little bit. I do this every now and again. I'm gonna recommend a TV show. It's a Netflix TV show called The Haunting of Hill House. It's basically loosely based on the Shirley Jackson novel of the haunted house. It's actually quite good. It's actually got some very creepy scenes in it, and it's got a very interesting story structure. So I think horror fans or anybody who's a fan of something kind of creepy should check it out. It's a good little time.
I have yet to watch it. It is on my list, and there's I just have not yet to get a chance to watch it yet. And I'm all excited too. This week starts Elseworlds on the CW superhero shows.
Oh wow!
The Legends of Tomorrow is not participating this time around.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I gotta catch up with that. Damn it. All right, good times.
Good times.
So let's go ahead then and let's keep the train rolling. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
You gentlemen mind if I take his spot?
If you play his hand.
I would prefer not to.
It is too late. You have regarded the cards.
You seen him, you play him.
I ain't Annie.
The other hombre emptied.
You seen him, you play him.
And if I don't?
You play them cards, Fancy Dan.
Can't no one compel another man to engage in recreation. Certainly not a son of a gun as ill-humored as yourself. And as for names, my horse is Dan. I'm Buster Scruggs.
Buster Scruggs. The run from Riata Pass and this pistol.
One thing I love about the Coen Brothers is their use of sound. And just, like that particular scene when the piano player stops playing after Clancy Brown pulls his gun. And the piano player just turns around and you hear the creak of the stool and all. I mean, it's the little things, when you know exactly whose film you're watching.
Right.
So you have a Western anthology film starring Tim Blake Nelson, who you heard, and that was, of course, Clancy Brown, Liam Neeson, James Franco, Brendan Gleeson, Zoe Kazan, Tyne Daly, Harry Melling, Tom Waits, and more. So, Matt, why don't you break down? I want to know what each and every segment of this film was about. I want descriptive discussions and reviews of what each one's about. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Generally, if you can kind of tell us what is the Ballad of Buster Scruggs? What's going on here?
Right. So, as you said, it's a Western anthology film. Follows basically just. I'm trying to put this in kind of people on the outskirts of society, kind of trying to make their own way in kind of the tragedies and circumstances and serendipities that befall them as they go through their various lives. Makes it sound a lot more serious than it actually is, but that's, I guess, what it's really about in a nutshell.
Perfect. So let me ask you, here's my question for you. I felt that each one of these were solid.
Yeah.
Some of them were good.
Yeah.
Were any of them great?
Yes. I thoroughly enjoyed the very first one, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, which is what you heard in the beginning, just because it has got that kind of strange patter that the Coens are only the Coens can really do, and it's got a lot of absurdity to it, a lot of little hints of Burn After Reading and Raising Arizona, just hyper violent, but also just hilarious at the same time. And like it was classic Coen Brothers. I really, really like the first one.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. I thought the first one may be my favorite of the group. The rest of them were all pretty good. The gal who got rattled, I rather enjoyed, though very sad. And I wonder about, what do you think about the Mortal Remains? So the closer.
Yeah.
Part of me was wondering if was a supernatural, thing going on there, where that maybe it was one of those things where, like a lost thing, right? Where they're all dead the whole time.
Right.
I'm not sure. I don't know what you thought about that.
Yeah. I did. So this reminded me of something. I couldn't quite place it. I keep wanting to say it reminds me of like a Twilight Zone episode, but I don't think that's quite right, but that's the kind of the vibe you get, especially as kind of knowing how it all kind of plays out. Definitely more of it's by definition, it's a very locked room kind of play kind of thing. So it was it was very interesting, but it definitely had a Twilight Zone vibe for me. I that's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, maybe more Night Gallery. Maybe that's why it's not quite Twilight Zone for you.
There you go.
But I think I overall I enjoyed this thing. I think the Coen Brothers are able to do what they do best, and by splitting it up and having 6 different tales, they're able to kind of dip their toe into everything in one film. You get quirky characters, you have your dark humor, fascination with death, kind of cartoon, outsized violence at times.
Right.
And I appreciate it too, in a word, there were no bookends. There's no connective tissue in any of these stories.
No.
Right. We're just presented these six little vignettes, and just kind of sit back and enjoy and just kind of let it wash over you. I mean, as I said, some of them were more successful than others. One of the ones I was looking forward to the most, that was probably the weakest for me, was the Tom Waits one.
I was going to say the same thing, yes.
Prospector.
Yeah.
But overall, I think everything here is solid and entertaining enough. And if you like Westerns and if you like the Coen Brothers, then I think this is well worth your time.
Yeah, I heartily agree, especially since there's very little effort, since everybody has Netflix for the most part, to go out and watch this thing. But yeah, it's definitely got some of the best of Coen Brothers, just kind of what's on display. And you really can't go wrong with any of their films. It's definitely a recommendation for me.
It's killing me now, too. I just thought, what I should have had the stinger for the show this week should have been Pan Shot. And it didn't occur to me to grab Pan Shot. Damn it. All right. Next time, maybe. Next time?
Maybe, yes.
We'll use it as a drop. All right. Because we do it so often.
We
so
do.
many drops all the time.
You son of a bitch.
All right. So if you had a chance to see the Ballad of Buster Scruggs,
I'll
do it. I know. I realized that as I started to talk.
Oh, okay.
And then I was going to loop back around to it. But now that you've exposed me. So what's your damn grade then? Fine.
A minus. A minus. An A minus.
A minus.
Yeah.
Well, disagree. I gave it a B plus.
Okay.
So finally, the chasm between our grades. B plus and A minus. Shoot us an email, feedback@thefirstrun.com if you've seen the Ballad of Buster Scruggs. It does kind of peter out a little bit as it goes, unfortunately. It is a slow downhill. And how dark was that Liam Neeson bit?
Serious. That was really dark. That's the thing. Those first two are really solid. Like, I mean, I really enjoyed the Franco one too, but it gets dark, and there's very little dialogue in those kind of middle ones, So I was like, wow, this is very very quiet.
Yeah. Feedback@thefirstrun.com. All right, Matt. So let's move on. And I got a little treat for you. I think you're going to enjoy this. So it's a Turn in the Lounge, which basically we just kind of screw around for a few minutes. So, Matt, enjoy this.
J. Jonah Jameson here. And whoever this is, I'm too busy to talk.
Too busy to talk about getting rid of Spider-Man?
Say, who is this?
Just call me Mysterio. And for a fee, I will rid you and the world of Spider-Man forever. Of course, if you're not interested.
Who said I wasn't interested? But, how much is it going to cost me? But that's preposterous. Very well, it's a deal. But remember, not a penny until Spider-Man is defeated and exposed for the fraud that he is.
Your career is at an end, Spider-Man.
I gotta tell you, Matt, when I was researching this or pulling kind of clips for this show, every now and then I go down a black hole on YouTube. Typically, it's 80s music videos.
Sure.
But every now and then I'll look for old cartoons. You know what I haven't looked for is the Superpowers one. Though I think I have it on DVD now that I think about it. Either way, one of the things I love, first off, I love the Max Fleischer Superman cartoons. Those things are just gorgeous works of art. And occasionally disturbingly racist if you find some of the older ones. Like
Shocking.
The Japators. It's World War II.
Right.
But still. Anyway, there's other ones that are much worse. So one of the things I love, though, about the 60s Spider-Man cartoon was that jazz score. That soundtrack, man. Just YouTube some of the, just say, Spider-Man cartoon, 60s, whatever it is. And then just listen to the music. That stuff's awesome. It's just, I wish somebody released a soundtrack of that. Like, it's of all the music they use for that, I would buy that in a heartbeat. It is so cool. So I don't know where you want to start. I guess we start with what the clip was. So Jake Gyllenhaal basically announced on Instagram officially that he's Mysterio.
Right. Yes.
And I'm excited for this.
Yeah.
I vote. There's something about Mysterio and his weird fishbowl costume thing, that I've always found interesting. And he's basically, now correct me if I'm wrong, he's basically a magician gone bad.
Yeah, he's basically a master of illusions and like special effects. Like, he has no actual superpowers. He just kind of fools everybody into thinking that he does because he's so good at making illusions.
There you go. So I'm looking forward to this. We were supposed to get the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer, and they pulled it again, just like they were doing with the Avengers Endgame, which of course now officially is the title. And I love too how, I mean, have they cut them? I don't think we talked about this when we saw Infinity War, but have they cut themselves off at their knees? We know there's a Guardians movie coming.
Sure.
Is this why they pulled the Spider-Man trailer? Is it because, I mean, he died in the last film, and we're going to show you the trailer the next day, when he's back.
Yeah. So they did show the trailer at a comic convention in Brazil, and you can't see the trailer. Marvel has like cut out all those pieces of that, but you do see Tom Holland and Jake Gyllenhaal. They're up there talking about the film. So obviously, I mean, I guess you have cut yourself at the knees, but at the same time, I think Endgame, I think we always assumed, or we knew that some of these characters were coming back. I think the real question is, for that film, is what happens to the original Avengers, who all of their contracts are basically up, except for like Renner and Johansson. I think that's really how that's going to play out.
Well, I guess so. Except they all survived.
Right, but are they going to survive this next one, since Thor's contract is up, and so is RDJ's, and so is Chris Evans? So
our money's on RDJ, right?
I think RDJ for sure is going to die. I'm pretty sure Chris Evans is going to have Captain America is going to have some kind of noble sacrifice kind of thing as well. I can see Hemsworth sticking around and just kind of not doing his own film, just kind of showing up every now and again, like a through line kind of thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. How are you excited for Mysterio as the villain for Far From Home?
Yeah, I think
that'll be somebody you'd rather have.
No, not really. I mean, here's the thing. As much as I love Spider-Man, all of his villains, for the most part, are really goofy. They're all just kind of ridiculous. And I think Mysterio is perfectly ridiculous because you're just kind of really leaning into it. And it's not like, I mean, I guess what are his classic villains? Green Goblin, which we've seen, a bunch. Venom, which obviously we can't have for various reasons. And has not really played out well on anything on screen so far. But other than that, they just all get kind of goofy, and I'm happy that they're going to try and lean into this, because I have complete faith that they're going to be able to do this well. Yeah.
All right. I think we did a show on this too, the 5 Spider-Man villains we want to see next. And I think Mysterio was on our list. I know like Molten Man's another one I just love conceptually. Would like to see that. That'd be kind of cool. So what were your thoughts on the Avengers Endgame trailer?
I was excited. I was chomping at the bit to see it. It doesn't really give you much of anything. It just kind of gives you, the pathos, the kind of plotting and sadness and all this kind of stuff. It doesn't really even give you any kind of action scenes in it, really, whatsoever. I think it's just nice to kind of see where they're going with this, even though it really doesn't tell you much of anything.
And what do you feel about the reveal of Ronan right out of the gate?
Yeah. So explain. I don't really even. When you texted me that, I did not even really get who that is. I don't even know who Ronan is. So why don't you fill us in case people don't know?
Well, Marvel guy,
I know.
and somebody may have to correct me on this, but Ronan, I believe, was a character. I don't know if he was created by Bendis, but he was really used by Bendis. He basically is a not generic, but he's just a cover identity that different heroes have used over time when they need to not be who they are. I guess. I don't know. So I think Daredevil was Ronan once, Hawkeye was, and somebody else big. I never read the comics, so I think I just looked him up on Wikipedia.
Sure.
So, but that's it. So they reveal and I know it because I know what the costume looks like, and even though you see him from the back or the side, it's clearly the Ronan costume.
Yeah.
And one of the things people are saying, well, where's Hawkeye? Why isn't Hawkeye in any of the films?
Right.
So I get maybe you got to show, look, he's here. Here's Hawkeye.
Yeah.
But still, why not just again, like they did with Lando? Why not keep that under wraps and just have him show up when he shows? Unless maybe the reveal in the film isn't a big deal either.
Right.
I don't know. I can anticipate maybe he's like a vigilante or he's doing stuff in the background. There's this whole mystery, like who is Ronan? But I guess there's bigger things to deal with than maybe a small mystery like that.
Yeah.
And even then, I just don't. Maybe there just wouldn't make sense to devote that much screen time. Isn't this thing supposed to be almost 3 hours long too?
Is it?
Is that correct?
It'll be a very quick 3 hours.
Yes. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else about the trailer. So Tony's lost in space. Everybody's dead.
Yeah, everybody's dead.
Cap shaved his beard.
Yep, Cap shaved his beard. Black Widow still has her blonde hair. Yeah, we didn't see Thor at all, right? No. Didn't see Rocket. We saw Ant-Man. That was basically it.
So Ant-Man somehow is able to get out of the whatever miniature
the microverse
zone thing.
Sure. Sure.
Because that's how I remember for Ant-Man the Wasp. That's how it ends. He's there, and his whole team disappears. Spoiler.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
I'll go to.
There you go.
So, all right. What do you got? Anything else there? Any other thoughts on the Avengers?
I've got some other Marvel questions for you, though. So if we might as well stick on that theme. So first, so Netflix has canceled basically all of its Marvel shows. So what do you think that means for the characters? Because some of those characters are pretty big deal characters. I mean, Daredevil is a pretty big deal character. So is the Punisher from a comic standpoint. You think we're going to get them in a film? And are they going to play by the same actors?
I don't know. Part of me thinks this is just the first move in order to bring them over to Disney Plus.
Sure.
And I think when they show up on Disney Plus, they'll be more family friendly and fun. Kind of like Mark Waid's running Daredevil after it was dark for so long. He made Daredevil kind of a fun, jokey Spider-Man-esque type hero.
Sure.
Which wasn't a bad run. It was just different.
Right.
I think who's left? It's Jessica Jones and Punisher, right? They're the only two that haven't been canceled.
Yeah, just because they've basically, I think you have wrapped the seasons. They just haven't aired them yet.
So that's my theory, is that they're going to bring them in and then maybe do kid versions of them or different versions of them for Disney Plus. I don't anticipate maybe another Punisher movie, but he has not had a lot of luck cinematically. So I don't know. I just don't. Daredevil, they've already said he's not in Infinity War.
Yeah.
Or Endgame. Right. So
I don't know.
Is he big enough to get his own film? I don't.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
and who do you cast?
I don't know. I don't know who you cast. But yeah, I think Daredevil is big enough to get his own film. I mean, come on. Look at some of the characters that they've managed to make huge hits out of. I think
Ant-Man had 2 films.
They could you know, and I don't care what anybody says, Black Panther wasn't burning up the sales charts for the past 40 years, you know, or anything like that as far as comic book goes. So, I mean, you know, yeah, I think they could totally do it. I think, you know, kind of a more grounded, quote unquote, grounded hero kind of thing, which I know they've been trying to do, but, you know, I think they could do it. I think it could work out pretty well.
You know who's available? 'Cause I don't think he's doing Batman anymore. You can do an aging Daredevil, and he can be a defense attorney who is a prosecuting attorney for some reason.
Sure.
If you've seen the original Daredevil movie, I'm sure Ben might be interested.
Yeah, he would just totally be. He's had so much luck with superhero films.
Well, if Marvel gets it, you know they'll do it.
That's true.
They'll do it right.
They'll do it right.
Forgettable, instantly forgettable, but it'll be done entertainingly enough.
There you go. I could see Affleck like voicing the Thing. He could be like Ben Grimm or something. He wouldn't have to show up to do anything, but he could still be involved to get that paycheck.
That works.
Yeah. So my other two things, and I just kind of want to point this out. I just want to see get your quick thoughts on this. So these Captain Marvel trailers, is it me or does Brie Larson seem to have like no charisma in these things? She looks incredibly wooden. Like I don't get what it is. Like I don't know if am I missing something or is that just an affectation?
And we've been Brie Larson fans from the very, very beginning here.
Yeah.
Short Term 12 is a first run favorite, right? If we ever get around to actually compiling the films we would recommend during that we've discovered as part of the show, the first run favorites, Short Term 12 is on that list. And she was great in Community, great in Room. I mean, she's a fantastic actress. And you're right. The shots that we've seen in that trailer, it looks really bad.
It does.
The effects look fantastic, you know, and all that, but her line delivery is just I don't know. I'm like,
hey, what happened?
I have no idea what. I'm nervous. I'm maybe it's just the way the trailers are cut. Maybe when I see the whole thing as a whole.
Yeah.
Because we love Brie Larson, and I don't know. Well, I mean, come on, Scott Pilgrim. What's her name in that?
Oh, Envy Adams.
Envy Adams. That's right.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I didn't realize that's actually her singing in that film. I thought that was Metric who did the original song, but that actually is Brie Larson singing.
She started off as a musician.
Yeah.
Because that was her first love, I guess.
Yeah.
It didn't pan out. So
well, I'm hoping we're wrong. And maybe it has something in story because maybe, you know, she's supposed to be a Kree warrior, so maybe that's just how Kree warriors act kind of thing, and she's brainwashed or something. I have no idea. We'll see. Because Captain Marvel's a pretty fun character. I mean, she's not that uptight. She's not that kind of stiff, you know, kind of thing. So I don't know.
I don't know. I've had no exposure to her as a character really at all. Outside of the fact that Rogue got her powers from touching her.
Yeah.
That's like my only you know, there's only one Captain Marvel. All right.
Shazam.
Let's get this straight. That's right. Billy Batson. It's Shazam. You know, the Captain Marvel that existed 40 or 50 years before this one.
Right. I hear you. All right. So then here's my last question, Marvel related for you. Then we can move on to something else. Black Panther being nominated for a Golden Globe. Am I wrong in saying that it's good, but it's not that good?
So yeah, I thought we'd close with the Globes, but that's fine. We can get into it. Yeah. So here's your drama nominees: Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Ugh. But I mean, the Hollywood Foreign Press doesn't really know what they're doing. Let's just put that out there.
No, if Beale Street could talk, which we definitely need to see, and then A Star Is Born again. Those are your dramas. And why is Star Is Born and Bohemian Rhapsody in drama, but neither of them are in comedy/musical?
Right.
Which just the favorites here. Greenbook, is that a comedy or a musical?
No.
So this is just this year I think you can basically almost entirely write off the Globes. I think you can. So out of the again, I haven't seen If Beale Street Could Talk yet, and it's supposed to be phenomenal. But out of those 5 films, Black Klansman is the clear winner for me of the films I've seen.
Yeah.
Panther is solid Marvel. It's not top tier. It's not. I think it's top 10, but it's like 8.
Yeah,
8 or 9.
Yeah, but it didn't crack either of our top 5s.
No. And then Bohemian Rhapsody, again, I'm the biggest Queen fan you'll meet, and that thing is just Malik's great, but it's just not that good. Stars Born is solid. I still don't know how I feel about Bradley's performance in that thing and the arc his character takes. Did you see? I don't think you didn't see it.
I didn't see it. I was away when you did that show.
Right. That's right. Yeah. So no, it doesn't. Here's the thing. For what it represents and what it is, and then it's an important film.
Right.
I understand that, but with the stuff that's come out this year,
that
is superior to that.
Mm-hmm.
8th Grade.
Yep.
Right. Annihilation.
Yeah.
You were never really here. I mean, there's Hereditary.
Yeah.
There's so much great stuff that I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's unfortunate. Yeah. Just, no, I get why they did it, but I don't agree with it. It's not that good of a movie. I mean, it's a good film. It's just not Best Picture of the Year award worthy film.
Do you think it gets an Oscar now?
No. No way. Even with 10, I don't think if they put that in as their token genre piece and they skip like Annihilation or Hereditary, I'm gonna boycott the Oscars. I'm not even doing the contest with you.
Fine. Another thing too is that Toni Collette didn't get a nomination in the Globes for Hereditary, which is just I listen. I know it's a strong year this year, but that really just blows my mind that she didn't get one. I mean, so so for drama, right? What do we have? We have Glenn Close and The Wife, which I confess I haven't seen. Lady Gaga and A Star Is Born. Nicole Kidman and Destroyer, which I really want to see. Melissa McCarthy and Can You Forgive Me, which they was here for like a week,
right,
and gone,
right.
And I really want to check that out as well. And Rosamund Pike and A Private War, again the same, here for a week and gone. That's what we're saying is we need screeners. That's what we're saying.
Hollywood, foreign press, send it over to us.
Somebody.
Yeah, somebody.
So there's a lot of listen. The Golden Globes is weak tea this year. They really are just not. For the most part, everything. I mean, Elsie Fisher got a nom, right, for musical or comedy in 8th Grade, which I was ecstatic about. But overall, just disappointing stuff. Matt, what do you think about Kevin Hart hosting and then not hosting the Oscars?
Yeah.
And then who do you replace him with? Who's your choice?
Who would I replace him with?
Mm-hmm.
Just because he's funny, John Mulaney. I think he could be fun. I would do John Mulaney.
Good pick.
Yeah. But you could get John Mulaney and Nick Kroll up there, and they could pull out their like old man bit. That could be kind of funny too. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not a huge Kevin Hart fan. I mean, he can be funny, but I don't find him incredibly entertaining. Although it is kind of weird that they're, I did see online this, even though, the mob making points is something I try to avoid, but I have to point out that it's probably true. I mean, they had Jimmy Kimmel host, and obviously the Man Show was not the most PC thing in the world. And I guess you could go back in his past and far as point a lot of that stuff out, but nobody had a problem with that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's just we're just, further along, even just a couple of years later, but still, I don't know.
Yeah, I think part of the issue he had that there was with Hart is, I don't know. I think, has Kimmel made any attrition? Has he kind of said anything like, well, yeah, I know those jokes were in poor taste and shouldn't have done that stuff back. Today it's not that kind of a thing you can do, or it wasn't appropriate. I don't know if he has.
I don't know if he has either.
But it's different. I don't know. The Hart thing, I guess, is that it's one of those non-apology apologies where it's one of like, listen, if I upset you, I'm sorry about it.
Right.
Or we did say that he doesn't feel. I don't know. I say that a lot in this show because I don't know anything. I think it was weird that he didn't start deleting any of the homophobic tweet stuff until this all started to happen.
Right.
But God, comedy is so tough. It's just, By the way, have you seen, what is it, Bumpin' Mics on Netflix?
No, I have not.
Because one of my favorite comedians is Dave Attell, and it's Dave Attell and Jeff Ross.
Okay.
And they did, excuse me, they did a bunch of shows together. But anyway, Dave Attell's got some really inappropriate humor. Not that they're going to ask Dave Attell to hold Oscars.
Right.
Though I would adore that. I don't think it's going to happen. But yeah, I don't know. So if I had to choose somebody, I would probably go. My number one is Maya Rudolph. I think she is hilarious, and she just lights up the screen whenever I see her. Whenever she's on TV. And then of course the cliched pick is Key and Peele, but I still think it's a good pick.
Yeah,
I think that'd be fantastic as well.
Yeah, Key and Peele would be good. What award show was Maya Rudolph? Like her and Fred Armisen, they just like died every time they were on screen.
Well, I don't know.
What was that?
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, they were on an award show recently, and they were trying to have this kind of like funny skit. They were, I do air quotes funny, where they were supposed to be doing something about the nominees, and it was just slow death every time they were on. It was bad.
Sometimes stuff just doesn't work. I know some people want Maya and Tiffany Haddish to host together. They think that would be fun. That could be good too. But yeah, good times. Well, that's what I had, Matt. I had Golden Globe noms, the Kevin Hart issue, replacement for the Oscars, Avengers trailer, Spider-Man, Mysterio, and that kick-ass jazz soundtrack from that 60s show.
Oh, man. I cannot wait for you to watch Into the Spider-Verse.
That's right. You've seen it.
I have seen it.
Is that what we're doing next?
I think it goes... Is it out wide now? Because I think the official release date is actually next Friday.
No, it's the 14th. That's right. So we're doing... is it Boy Interrupted? No, what is it?
Boy Erased.
Boy Erased.
Yeah.
All right. And I think we're doing the martial arts film that's on Netflix too, right?
Yes. That should be a good pairing.
Good times.
Yeah.
So yeah, Spider-Man comes out this Friday. And then also you're going to do Once Upon a Deadpool?
I might. I got a lot of time. I took most of the last, basically the last like week and a half of the year off. So I'm just I'll have a lot of time to go see stuff, after familial obligations are done.
There you go. If Beale Street Could Talk is supposed to be coming out as well. Mortal Engines. Oh, that is not a good review number. Good Lord, 37% on Rotten Tomatoes. Are we back yet? We're not quite. I think the first film. No, it's Aquaman. And Holmes and Watson for our Rotten Tomatoes score contest.
21st, and I think Holmes and Watson comes out on Christmas Day. I think it's the 25th. Right. So we got a little ways to go. Whereas I'm way behind. I got to pull out.
You got to run the table.
I got to run. I got to perfection to tie. Then we have to come up with a tiebreaker.
I think you might. I don't know. I'm not. I think my scores are too high, and unfortunately, I don't have them in front of me right now. But I think that you got a good shot at tying me. So
I hope so.
Good times.
All right.
So the Mule's coming out too, and then the Lars von Trier film, The House That Jack Built.
I hear that is absolutely something that no one should watch in their right mind. I hear it's a real tough sit.
65% Rotten Tomatoes.
Is it? I hear it's a real tough sit, Chris. A real tough sit.
Yeah. It's at 54 reviews.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. That's we'll have to figure that one out. Oh, and it's 2.5 hours long. 151, baby.
A 2.5 hour Lars von Trier tough sit. And let's just be honest. If somebody's saying that it's a Lars von Trier tough sit, it's got to be a tough sit.
Dear God. All right. We all know, though, how much everybody loves Antichrist.
That is, hey, it's part of my Christmas Eve tradition. Pop in Antichrist.
Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be the big show for this week. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Do a search for The First Run. Scroll. Eventually, you will find us. Go over to Apple Podcasts and give us a review. That's how more people find the show. I will read it on the air, I promise you, no matter how bad it is or how wonderful it is, even especially then. And then, of course, check will be in the mail. So, Matt, let's go ahead and take an extended break, and we'll see you soon.
Groovy.